Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today I want to talk about tuition centers and high school finals because growing up in Malaysia feels kind of weird with it, not gonna lie. So in Malaysia, pretty much every Chinese kid or basically any family that wants a quote unquote good education will drag their kids there to a tuition center after school hours. For me, I was sent to tuition ever since I was 7 years old, and I went to tuition until I graduated high school, which is a solid decade of my life, quite frankly. Every single day, I spent a bare minimum of 2 hours at a tuition center. But if I'm being honest, tuition did not actually help me in my studies. I learned most of the things just by paying attention in my actual school classes. Tuition was just a refresher. I wasn't really relearning or learning anything new. And it just felt like a weird routine that I had to do. And the teachers and the students at these places were always kind of weird too. They're usually massive tryhards who treat these final exams like the most important thing that ever happened in human history. I had this one history teacher who loved talking about completely random shit during class, and instead of teaching us what we actually needed to know for the exam, which was the whole reason we were paying to be there, he would go on and on about off-topic stuff, wasting the entire day, and he loved talking about what really happened in history. He'd say things like, history is written by the winners of war, and then explains the quote-unquote real story. Quite frankly, I don't really care. But if you actually write the truth on the exam paper, you're not gonna get marks for that. The exam board only gives you points if you write exactly what's written in the textbook, because that's how history works. So his rants were pretty much useless for the passing. So to make it worse, our class was supposed to be from 7:30 to 9 p.m. But he would constantly hold us back late until 9:30 or sometimes 10 p.m. Back then, I took the tuition van home. So if he finished at 9:30, the next van wouldn't pick us up until 10 p.m. So I wouldn't get back until 10:05, assuming that there's no other kids on the van. And during that time, my regular school bus picked me up at 6 in the morning from Monday till Friday. Knowing myself, I would waste time dragging myself out of bed. I was a really responsible high school student, so I had set an alarm for 4 a.m. in the morning so I could lie around in bed until 5 or 5:30 and then go shower. Because of that 4 a.m. wake up, every minute of sleep mattered, obviously. So instead of waiting for the late tuition van, I would walk home most of the time. And if I took the van, it would be later, and if I walk home, it would be 9:45. So I would just walk home in the dark, just to save 20 minutes. It's not really a lot, but it's 20 minutes. And the students at tuition were pretty weird though. I'm not gonna lie. I never really made friends there. Probably because I was the weird kid, honestly. But there was this one memorable classmate who brought a boba milk tea into the room. Our teacher at the time was a very nice lady. She calmly told him, hey, you can't bring that into class. You need to finish it outside. And this guy made it super awkward, I think, by saying, well, I didn't even want it anyway. And I'm like, that's a weird ass response. So I decided to be a smartass, spoke up, and told him, well, if you didn't want it, then why the fuck did you buy it and bring it here in the first place? And then I embarrassed him in front of everyone in class. But he had it coming. And ironically, he's one of the very few people from back then that I actually still keep in touch with today. But that's only because of Genshin, and I don't play Genshin anymore. So chances are we won't be talking to each other anymore. And by the time I turned 17, I completely gave up on my exams. I dropped a bunch of tuition subjects entirely because I didn't care about getting into college. In fact, I pretty much tried to self-sabotage my finals just so I wouldn't have to go. So in Malaysia, there's a massive, super duper important final exam that you're supposed to take when you're 17. Everyone has to do it. And teachers, tuition teachers, and normal teachers treat it like a die-hard situation, right? Depending on your major, you take anywhere from 7 to 12 different subjects. But the system has this really dumb rule. I think it's dumb. There are 3 core subjects that you must absolutely pass or you don't get the certificate at all. One of them is Malay, one is English, and for some reason, they decided history is a core requirement. Like, you could get 11 A pluses, but if you fail history, you don't get a certificate. And you're legally barred from entering any private or government college. And guess what? I failed history. So, I got a few A's in math, science, and English, and I passed Malay, but I failed history, so I didn't get the certificate. My parents had spent thousands of ringgit on tuition for a decade, and it didn't even matter because I failed anyway. Albeit on purpose. So I'm kind of a dick. But like I said, I'm still in college right now because I found an alternative loophole because my mom really wanted me to go into college, and I found this loophole. And I'm not gonna say the exact name for the test because I don't want to encourage other kids to slack off on their finals. But certain private universities / colleges, who knows which one, offer an alternative entry test. And as long as you have 3 or more credits from your high school finals, you are qualified to take it. The test costs about 150 ringgit. It's a 40 question multiple choice paper split across 4 subjects: Malay, English, math, and history. 10 questions each. The trick is, they don't care about which subjects you get right. Out of the 40 questions, you need a bare minimum of 20 correct answers to pass and get a valid certificate. If you're good at math and English, you just ace those 20 questions and then completely gamble on the other sections. That is exactly what I did. I passed, I got into college, anyway, without ever having to retake those history exam or restudy history. It proves you don't need to be a genius. You just don't have to be dumb. And it really makes me think about how useless all of that high school stress was. Like, there was so much pressure and stress unnecessarily placed on us. Like, unless you're trying to become a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer, I guess, like most people usually say, you don't use 90% of the stuff you learn in high school. Like, do I really need to know who's the first prime minister to run a business or do YouTube? No, of course not. Like, it's not important. And honestly, looking back at like the time reminds me of something incredibly funny, I guess. I guess I can say it's funny. A few years ago, right? Not a few years ago. When I was like 11 or 12, I was going through really dark times. I was pretty much suicidal, right? And I found out from mutual friends. I was pretty much suicidal until I was 17. So basically, I left school, mandatory school, and then became not depressed, essentially. So I found out from mutual friends that people from my old tuition days, from my old high school, from my old primary school days they were basically asking my friends, they were like behind my back, they were asking my friends and their friends, I guess, is he still suicidal, or is he even still alive? And it's like mind-blowing, you know? Like, if you actually want to know, right, you can just message me, right? And if I don't reply, then obviously it means I'm dead, or I don't remember who you are. Could be either one. Like, and if you actually know someone is struggling, wouldn't you just directly message them to check on them? But they didn't do that. They never did that. No one ever bothered. No one in my life has ever messaged me to ask, hey, are you okay? Despite knowing how dark my deep thoughts were during the time, right? No one ever messaged me to ask if I was okay. And I'm perfectly fine now because I got out of that shit on my own. I don't need them, obviously. I'm just a Giga Chad. And basically, they just wanted to ask around, see if I was dead yet, which shows how little they actually gave a fuck. They just wanted to gossip, quite frankly. And my friends would tell me about it, and I'm like, well, why do you tell them? He's like, why not? I'm like, why would you tell them? If they want to know that badly, they can message me. And he's like, they're worried about you. Yeah, right. If they were actually worried, they would message me. It's not that fucking complicated. So if any of you from my past are watching this video and you recognize my face, even though I don't wear glasses anymore, do me a favor. Don't message me. Don't try to reconnect with me. And don't contact me at all. Because I'm dead, okay? Don't message me. I'm already dead, okay? I'm dead. Don't message me. And the only exception is that one nice tuition teacher that I mentioned earlier who left the center. If you're somehow watching this, it'd be really nice to meet up, catch up over some coffee or something, even though I don't drink coffee or any sort of drinks whatsoever except for water. But yeah, everyone else, don't message me. Don't connect with me. Never message me again, okay? Clearly you don't care, and don't act like you do. Don't act like you do now, okay? Let's be honest. Yeah, that's basically my tuition experience. Leave a like if you were entertained. Subscribe for more of these type of videos. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.